With so many of us working from home, it's easy to get stuck in a rut and feel like we're living the same day over and over and over, maybe even down to our outfit. Today's guest is going to teach us how to make ourselves a priority, get out of our work from home ruts, and yes, even feel pretty. Have you ever felt like there's something more you're supposed to be doing with your life, but you're not sure what? Well, welcome to She Made It, the podcast that uncovers the journey to living a life that feels more like you. I'm your host, Elle Zimmerman, and I'm here with my co-host, Clara.
Hi, Elle. How are you?
I'm doing great, Clara. So Clara and I have been working at home since the beginning of the pandemic. So March 2020. So we're on March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. We're on 8 months. And I want to know, Clara, how many days do you really work in your PJs?
I love this question. I think you might have brought up this hilarious social media post to me, and it said time to change from my sleeping pajamas into my daytime pajamas. So I never actually work in my little pajama sets that I wear to bed, but I do very often, almost always, work in leggings and a shirt that's soft and comfy. So they're like midway between pajamas and clothes.
Yeah, and my favorite is when you actually have to put on a pair of jeans. And it's like, for me, I'll say whoa, waistline.
Totally. Yeah, I've been very offended by my experience putting on jeans. Mostly how they feel. I'm like, ew, why did I ever wear these?
Right. And my favorite is when it's like pajamas on the bottom, business on top, you know.
Oh, totally. The Zoom mullet, I think people call it.
Well, our guest today is Alison Lumbatis, and she is a wife, a mom of 3, and the founder of Get Your Pretty On, which is an online style platform. Her goal is to help all women feel pretty by being the go-to resource for style inspiration and beauty advice. Her platform, Get Your Pretty On, reaches almost 750,000 visitors annually in 200 countries worldwide and inspires a global community of women to embrace what makes them feel confident. I just love Alison. In our conversation, she shares the raw and real behind-the-scenes story of how Get Your Pretty On began, as well as how you can make yourself a priority starting today. Welcome to this episode of She Made It. I'm your host, Elle Zimmerman, and I am so excited to have our guest today, Alison Lumbatis. She is the founder of Get Your Pretty On, and I had the privilege of meeting Alison. I think we were chatting about 4 or 5 years ago at a women's networking event, and I knew she'd be a perfect guest for She Made It because Alison is one of those incredible right brain, left brain, perfect combo of technical, creative. She has this incredible history of talents and experiences that kind of merged unexpectedly in a blog she was writing. And I just want to say welcome, Alison.
Thanks, Elle. Wow, that was an awesome intro.
Yeah, and I know that I met you, we said several years ago, and since then, I have just watched the explosion of Get Your Pretty On and the service and the advice and the, all the tips that you offer and just your personality that just obviously is attracting this incredible group of women. I think I read on your website that you have over 30,000 women in 20 countries participating in. You have an outfit formulas program. You have over 250,000 women following you. I mean, it has really exploded.
It has. It has been a crazy whirlwind. And I call this my accidental business because honestly, I started this, as most entrepreneurs do, out of my own pain point, and didn't even realize at the time that what was going on was something that so many women needed, and it really grew organically. Honestly, I have put very little money into marketing, and it's just been crazy amazing.
And you started out writing a blog, is that correct?
Yes, I did. So I started out writing Get Your Pretty On back in 2012. So I've been at this for about 8 years now. And In the beginning, the blog was really just an accountability partner for me because I had lost all accountability for getting dressed on a daily basis. I was in corporate America at the time. I had been for about 14 years, and I got the opportunity to work from home, which was amazing. And a lot of us are doing that now, right? And we
Yeah,
know that
most.
in the beginning, you're like, oh my gosh, this is like a dream come true. I can work and throw in a load of laundry and have dinner on the table and do all these things. But about 6 months into it, I started to realize that things felt a little off for me. My motivation just kind of wasn't there for a lot of things like working out. I would wake up in the morning, put on my yoga pants, but not actually do yoga. I'd stopped wearing makeup, putting my hair back in a ponytail every day. And, some things kind of started to snowball from that. Like I started to gain weight. I wasn't cooking as healthy. I wasn't working out. I really started to see kind of my motivation lagging at work, and all of this stuff just came to a head one day. And I realized I had to do something different because I was in a really bad rut at the time, which was kind of a nice way of saying, I call it my yoga pants rut, but it was a depression. And I recognized that I needed to take some action and do things differently. So one night I just kind of sat down with a schedule and I wrote out the next day. And in that schedule, I put time for working out, taking a shower, getting dressed, putting on makeup, fixing my hair. So I did that the next morning and I felt amazing. The rest of the day, I felt so much better. I had so much more ambition, so much more motivation. And nobody saw me that day, after the kids and my husband left the house, but me. But still, I did it for me and it felt good. So I realized, when I picked my daughter up from school that day, she hops in the car with me and she's like, Mommy, what happened to you? And I said, what? And she said, you look pretty today. And that was like the moment where I realized that it wasn't just affecting me, it was affecting everyone around me too. And I committed that from that day forward, I would try my hardest to get dressed and make an effort every day. And that's really where the blog came in, was I thought this is a way for me to kind of chronicle this journey that I'm on and, take pictures of the outfits that I'm creating. Because at that point, all I had were the clothes in my closet from my corporate past life. I had a bunch of pencil skirts and blouses and dresses and heels and stuff that just did not work for working from home. So I had to rebuild my wardrobe. And I figured if I'm going to do this, I'm going to share this journey. Even if nobody ever reads this, I'm going to do this for me. And that's really where Get Your Pretty On started and how it took off, because a lot of other women were in the same boat and looking for cute, put together outfits that worked for their lifestyle. And that's exactly what I was providing at the time.
And so incredibly relevant to what we're all going through right now.
Yes.
Have you found it that your service, your conversation has surged in this last 5-6 months?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Everybody's talking about pivot. How does your business pivot during COVID? The way our business pivoted was I kept, sharing the same message I've been sharing since day one. And also at the same time, providing way more free resources than we've ever provided in the past. My team and I just got together and started brainstorming, like, how can we serve right now? Because everyone is going to remember you for the way that you served during a time of need. And that is going to pay off in the long run so much more than anything else. And I just kind of resigned myself to the fact that even if sales were down, even if, our revenue this year is down, it's okay, because we have an opportunity here to step in and serve women in a much bigger way than anybody can even imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many jokes about, deodorant sales are down, but chocolate sales are up.
Yes.
Like, pictures, memes of a bra, like not remembering what it is, So yeah, it's fascinating because I love how you you talk about the snowball, how you stop getting dressed and then you stop wearing makeup, and that leads to not exercising, and that ultimately leads to not eating healthy. And so it's all encompassing. And I have a question for you, because I see you on video. And for those of you that may not know Alison, you have to check out her Instagram. She's always does, I think it's a Friday coffee talk. And she's just got a lot of great tips to share and this exuberant personality. And, but I often think, okay, do you really get up and put makeup on every day?
I don't get up and put makeup on every day. Being totally honest, some days I don't get ready. Like today, for instance, I didn't get ready till about 12. And some days I don't get ready till 3 p.m. And there are days where I don't get ready at all. There will be, a couple of days that go by that I just will stay in the yoga pants and give myself grace and give myself permission and know that that's okay. But I also know when I feel the red flags creeping in of the loss of motivation or really struggling to put one foot in front of the other and I can't quite put my finger on what's wrong, I know that if I just make the effort, even if it is pulling my hair back in a ponytail, putting on a little bit of foundation and powder and a swipe of mascara and throwing on my favorite t-shirt and jeans, that in the long run is going to serve me way more than it will if I just don't do anything at all.
Yeah. And I totally agree. I've experienced that myself. And one thing that Zoom has done is it has forced us to have at least waist up presentability. We can still have the yoga pants on, but I think it's stressful for people because they feel like they're on TV all day, but it does require that we get a little bit of, ourselves together.
For sure. Yeah. I think, I've been reading some studies too recently where Botox, it's interesting. You're talking about the memes that you see that Botox and sales of shirts and accessories are through the roof right now because of Zoom. So we obviously as women are seeing, ourselves on camera a lot of us for the first time. And it's interesting to see how that's all shifting and, what it's doing to us culturally and how it's driving sales of these items too.
Right. So you talk about how you sort of, this need came, the blog and the Get Your Pretty On came out of your own need, and then you started seeing the effect it had on others. And where did it go from there? Because you started by saying, I don't really at that time care if anybody reads it, but you discovered that boy, oh boy, people were.
Yes. So the first 2 years of GYPO were really just organic growth and women finding me through other blogs. I wasn't really all that active on social media at that point in time in 2012. That was kind of a later thing that came along. But really, I allowed, the close relationship with my readers to drive the direction of Get Your Pretty On and where it went organically. And in about 2 years in, I wasn't really making any money from blogging, and I had the opportunity to take a severance package from my corporate job. I was a telecom engineer for a long time, and I took a chance and left and said, I'm going to give myself 6 months, pour everything that I have into building this blog and see what happens with it. So I did that. And at the end of 6 months, I wasn't really making money still, definitely not enough to replace my corporate salary. And my goal at that point was to replace half of my corporate salary. And I just didn't see any way that was going to be possible. So I did my first reader survey, and I asked my readers if there was anything that I could provide as a service to them. What would that be? And what would they be willing to pay for it? And I got tons of responses back. And there was a huge overlap in those responses. And women said, I really just want you to tell me what to go out and buy to rebuild my wardrobe. Like, give me a shopping list of pieces to buy and tell me what trends to get every season, kind of to keep things refreshed and in style without breaking the bank. So I thought, great, I can do that. I know these pieces. This is perfect. I've got this. So I started making this list. And as I was making the list, I realized that what good is a list of pieces if you're not pairing those pieces up into outfits? So I started pairing everything up into outfits and created inadvertently a capsule wardrobe, which I had no idea what it was at the time until one of my readers came back and said, oh, cool, you made a capsule wardrobe.
And what is a capsule? Can you explain what a capsule is?
Yeah, so a capsule wardrobe, this was a term coined, I think, back in the 60s by a London boutique owner. So it's just really a smaller set of clothing that you can mix and match with each other to create outfits. So the pieces in a capsule vary. Some of them are very minimalist, maybe 10 pieces are in it and you can create a bunch of different outfit combinations. My capsules are a little bit bigger than that, but I base them all on a closet staples shopping list. So if you have these closet staples in place already, then it's easy to kind of refresh your wardrobe every season. So I do two kinds of capsules. I have my essentials capsule collection, which are more closet staples types of pieces that you can build your wardrobe from. And then I have my seasonal capsules, which are the more fun, playful, trend-based capsules that are fresh and new every season. So once I had all this feedback and I put together the first capsule and I decided to launch it, I made the announcement on the blog. And I thought to myself, I'm going to be happy if 50 women sign up for this. Like, it'll be totally worth my effort. 500 women signed up the very first time out of the gate. And I knew on that day, at that moment, that this was the thing. Like, this was the service that I was meant to be providing for these women. And that was 2014. And it has just grown exponentially season after season ever since then.
That is incredible. Well, I know that when I first met you and I sort of was just kind of like checking out what you were doing. And the thing that I loved is that it was incredibly accessible and it was affordable and it was flexible. And oftentimes you'd show pieces that you purchased and they might have been from Target or they might have been from a lower priced location. And then I think you even talk about how we use what we already have.
Yes. So that really one of the tenets that I wanted to build this on was to make it budget friendly, because I had a lot of readers coming to me saying, I'm doing these box styling services like Stitch Fix or some others, and they're just not working for me because the quality's not there. The pieces are expensive, and then they're not sending me pieces that I would actually wear. So I wanted to give something to women that would give them the flexibility to work within their own budgets, to take their body shape into consideration, work from petites to plus sizes, and to have the flexibility that it would work for their lifestyle. If you're not wearing stiletto heels every day, or you can't wear sneakers every day, you need to be able to adapt to those pieces to work for you. So the shopping lists that I create for each capsule take all of this into consideration. I provide links for women from petites to plus size. I provide links for stores from H&M and Amazon up to, Nordstrom and beyond. So there's something in there for everybody. And I want this truly to work for everyone. That's why I call the program Outfit Formulas. We just rebranded it last year because I really just want to get that point across that this is the outfit formula. And I promise you that if you just apply the formula, you absolutely can make this work for you, for your lifestyle, for your budget, for your body.
And so what's fascinating to me is you talked about being in corporate America, being in engineering, because didn't you get an engineering degree?
I have a psychology degree, but I did work as an engineer professionally for 14 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now, like a fashion guru, how did you transition to that? Because at first, when you say I'm writing about what was my, what I was challenged with, and now all of a sudden you're becoming an expert in fashion, and how did you transition? How did you transition into that?
So I am a left and right brain equal.
Yeah,
I'm the golden brain. So I have always had a creative bent, and overlapping with my time in corporate America, I was also a performer. I worked for 10 years professionally in Dallas as an actress and print model. And when I would go to my acting and modeling gigs, there were other parts of it that fascinated me. Like, I loved working with the stylists. And while performance art was really where my heart was, I knew that there was this creative side of me that just wasn't getting fulfilled completely. And I think that this really tapped into that creative side for me. I don't consider myself a stylist. I still don't to this day. I consider myself an entrepreneur in many ways, but I also consider myself a life coach and all these other things. Like you said, this is more holistic style to me. I couldn't have dreamed up a better job, if I'm being honest, because I do get to use that technical background. And that was so incredibly useful whenever I was starting my first membership site and building that from scratch and being able to rely on the ability to figure things like that out, but also bring in that creativity and, when it comes to the aesthetic of the websites and what I want the capsules to look like, and just having that eye for creativity as well has served me so well.
And then I love that because now you are the spokesperson, you are the face for GYPO, and you had that background too.
Yes.
It is like this. Yeah, it's this like complete culmination of all your talents, gifts, all in one. That's really, really incredible.
It's amazing when I look back at the tapestry that is woven of all of the experiences I've had. And, I feel like I'm in my 40s now. And when I try to give advice to younger women that are starting out in their careers, or women that are 10 years behind me or whatever. And I say, don't ever discount any of your experiences, because they're all weaving together into something really beautiful that you're going to be able to utilize someday, even though it may not make sense at all right now. And I stepped away from acting entirely in 2012 before I even started blogging, a few months before I started. And it was a difficult chapter to close because I did love it, but I felt like auditioning and just being in that world wasn't a good fit for me anymore. And I knew that there was something more that I was supposed to be doing, that I was meant to be doing. And when I look back on that now and see how well that served me and how it's still serving me to this day, it's just incredible.
Yeah. So I have a question about that in-between space, that I know this isn't serving me, but I don't know what is yet. I know I'm going to take the severance package, but I really don't know what's going to happen next. And I know you talked about, you surveyed, and you had an idea and it worked. I guess tell me more about the moments where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if this is going to work. Did that happen, or was your thinking just moving you forward to the next step, that you didn't have time for that? How did that play in, like self-doubt or the fears that come up when we're launching something brand new?
Oh, I don't do well in the in-betweens. I'm a person that loves to know the outcomes. And so I think that the biggest lesson in everything in this entrepreneurial journey from day one has been just to let go and not try to force outcomes, and to allow things to happen organically, and to be okay with not knowing. And it's really hard to get that across to somebody, especially when they're in the wait and they're in the in-between, that you're being prepared for something, that something more is coming, something is on the horizon, and just having that trust level. And I think that one of the main things that's really helped me has been journaling. Mm-hmm. I've journaled consistently for the past 10, 12 years, and I keep all of my journal entries in a Word doc, so I can go back year after year and look at the same date in 10 years ago to see what's going on in my life, and just seeing the progression and knowing and trusting and having faith that everything is going to work out has been so powerful. And there are times now where I just am like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the next step is. I don't know, what the next phase of my life is going to consist of. Just being able to look back on that and see that it is all leading to something. I think that that's been such a powerful tool. And when I first started Get Your Pretty On and took that severance package and had that year before I started to make money, it was the scariest year of my life. And I just didn't know that if anything was going to work out. But again, just looking back and seeing how everything has come together has been so powerful.
Yeah, so it's a good reminder that our experiences, the past successes, need to reinforce the future risks.
Yes, totally.
Yeah. And one of the questions that if I remember you shared, and I could be mistaken, but I'm certified in the Enneagram. I do coaching and team coaching with the Enneagram, and I think you're an Enneagram fan. And if I remember, are you a 5?
I am a 5, yes.
Well, and what's interesting about that, for those of you who don't know the Enneagram, the Enneagram 5, well, it's a style, like a personality, or almost like your natural tendency style. It's not so much like a category that you fit in, as personality-wise. And a 5 tends to be, they can be labeled the thinker, or they seek wisdom. And one of the sort of negative traits of a 5 can be that they get stuck in analysis paralysis. They can overthink, over-research, want lots of data before they move. But I'm sensing, and I'm not sure, what is the 5? Well, you have a 4 wing, which is your creativity, and a 3 wing, which is the achiever, sometimes called the performer. But where would you say, how do you manage that analysis paralysis? Because I think a lot of people in taking risks, moving forward into action, especially in the unknown, we get caught in overthinking, over-researching, sometimes in comparing to others as we are researching. How have you worked through that for yourself? Because you've taken these great leaps.
Yes. I think it's been a process of letting go. Back in the beginning, I held on to things so tightly that you're right. I wouldn't make moves. I wouldn't move forward. I struggled with just, taking the steps because I wanted everything to look good on paper. And it's kind of one of those things where, with being an entrepreneur, you have to take calculated risks. Otherwise, you're probably not going to be successful, right. Especially when you have a personality type like mine, or you're an Enneagram 5, and you can stop yourself from moving forward with things. But, again, it just comes down to that trusting the process and knowing that it's all going to come together. And even if you can't see the solution or the outcome, that you just trust and you keep moving forward. And that's what I've done. I was just consistent. Consistency is half the battle with anything, and sticking with the thing that you're doing and not really, kind of bouncing around from one thing to the next, which again, as entrepreneurs, we love to chase those bright, shiny objects. And I have to really give my team credit for that, because they recognize that with me, and they know that they have to help me stay on task and follow through on the projects that we're working on, and do the things that align with, where we are right now. So that has definitely helped a lot too. But I really think that over the course of 8 years, this has been a personal development journey as much as a professional one. And that has been the biggest lesson in everything, is letting go.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's been fun to watch. I have a couple questions that I think our listeners would just love to hear personally from your expertise, because you deal with women from all different parts of the world, like you said, all different shapes, sizes, ages. From your interaction with women, what do you think is the number one problem that women deal with when it comes to self-care, fashion, beauty? Basically, what are women struggling with?
I think the number one problem is we're not giving ourselves permission. Mm-hmm. And, we're waiting for our spouses or our friends or our sisters or our kids or somebody to say, you should do this for yourself, when really we need to give ourselves permission. And I think a lot of women who come to Get Your Pretty On are coming there because they want me to give them permission. And I am more than happy and more than willing to do that. So I would say number one is give yourself permission and know that you are worthy of having a wardrobe that you love. You are worthy of, buying the makeup that makes you feel great. You're worthy of getting your hair done. You are worthy of all of those things. It's not something that you need to reserve or for a special occasion, or you feel like other people deserve, but you don't. So I would say that's the first thing. And the second thing is, along with giving ourselves permission, is like, you have permission to dress the body you have right now. A lot of us are waiting for a future number on a scale, or, some future event that says that, again, we're worthy for buying new clothes, when you're right now. I think every woman in the world deserves to have one pair of jeans that fits her perfectly and makes her feel like $1 million. So if you don't have those jeans, go get those jeans right now. Even if you wear them every single day, if you're on a journey and you want to be a different size or whatever, it's okay. Wear them every single day if they make you feel great. So I think that those are the biggest things that we're struggling with, are our permission to feel pretty, and our body image issues that hold us back.
Yeah. And what do you say to the woman who says, I don't have time, there, too many other things going on? There's permission, but then there's just like balance and priority.
Absolutely. And to that, I say, I recommend that every woman carves out at least 30 minutes a day that she can focus on herself, and put it in your calendar like any other appointment that you have, like any other Zoom call or something that you have for your kids. Make it a priority. If you pencil in that 30 minutes at the top of your day and make sure that you religiously commit to that every single day for you and make it happen, then I promise you, you're going to feel so much better for it.
I have to tell you that I recently watched one of your coffee talks, which again, I highly recommend because you're very inspiring, and you just show up just as it's just very personable. And you were talking about your morning and evening routine, like your bookends of your days. And I just think that people should listen to that, because setting yourself up at the beginning and then that winding down at the end of the day, I find, because I have a pretty routine morning consistent plan as well, and I just find when I stick to my morning routine, it's like time expands in the day. I have a focus, I have a groundedness. Mine includes some journaling, I do some meditation, I do some prayer, gratitude, and I try to keep it to that 30, 40 minutes at the most, have my coffee. And again, you said the same thing. And I love what you said is you add it also to the end of your day. And it seemed to be, there's a book, it's called The Great Leap, and it's Gay Hendricks wrote it, and he talks in there about Einstein time and the relativity of time and our perception of time. And the one thing that changed in my life was that consistent morning routine that just seemed to, I don't know, I just got control of time through that practice.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yes. I can't speak enough to having rituals in your day like this, where you start and end the day with some kind of ritual or routine. And if there's ever a time where I oversleep or something happens where my morning routine's disrupted, I'm like you, I feel like the rest of my day, just like the wheels are kind of off for the rest of the day. And I didn't always have a bookend at the end of my day. This is something I probably started about 2 or 3 years ago, but I realized the importance of that downtime too at the end of the day. So the beginning of my day, bookend, like you, I do my coffee, my prayer, meditation time. Really, that's when I set my intentions for the day and, look over my schedule, and just starting your day off with that kind of calm and peaceful time where you can be deliberate, I think is super important for setting the tone for the day. And then at the end of the day, just really kind of closing the chapter on work. I physically close my laptop, metaphorically close the chapter, have, sometimes a glass of wine with my husband and catch up on our days, or sometimes I'll read a chapter out of a book or something that just signifies to me that work is ending and I'm transitioning into my evening. It'll be time to make dinner and clean up and do all that stuff. But those two things, honestly, in addition to getting dressed and ready for the day, those have been the things that have been absolutely the game changers for me.
And even more important for those who are working at home, because we don't have that commute anymore.
Exactly. It truly is. I used to work with a guy who told me years ago that he worked with a lady who, when she got home from work, she would walk through the door, not say a word to her 3 kids or husband, walk into her bedroom, lay down in her bed for 15 minutes, get up and come out and say, "Hey family, I'm ready for the evening." And I thought that was the coolest form of self-care. I just love that story. And that really stuck with me. And I thought that's just the best example of a bookend that I've ever heard of.
That's awesome. I have done that a couple times because I have 3 teenagers. And if they walk in the room with a bit of an attitude or kind of a little bit argumentative, I say, "Okay, back out." You can walk back in with a different attitude. And it works. It's like a reframing.
It really does.
So I have another question. This is a challenge that I have, and I'm sure other women do. So I've got this closet full of clothes, and I found a shirt here and a pair of pants there and a blouse there and a t-shirt, whatever. But then I don't know how to put anything together. And so do you have any tips for picking outfits quickly?
Yes. So I used to be the worst shopper. I know, like, true confession time here. I would go out and buy a couple of pieces. I would come home, throw it all out on my bed. And I was like, okay, cool. None of this goes together. And it doesn't go with anything in my closet either. So that's when I really started this whole concept.
But you probably got it at a great sale price, right?
Exactly. I got it on the rack.
Exactly.
Yes, you read my mind. But that's really when I realized, shopping with a purpose is so powerful. So I encourage women first off to take an inventory of what you have in your closet. And oftentimes that starts with something that's really not sexy, not glamorous, and not fun. And that's a closet clean out and getting rid of what you're not wearing. We only wear about 20% of what's in our closets at any given time.
Wow.
So if you get rid of that other 80% and look at the 20% that you actually have, then you know what you really need. I always tell the story. I used to have like 15 striped shirts in my closet because I would just continually buy striped shirts, not realizing I already had a bunch of striped shirts. But if you go out shopping with a purpose and know the gaps that you need to fill in, then, that's step number one. And I have a closet staples shopping list at getyourprettyon.com. If you want to go there and download that, that'll give you a list that you can check off the things that you already have. And then you can go in the store armed, with the shopping list to know what you actually need. So that's number one. Number two, I love to just take an afternoon every once in a while. And with the Outfit Formulas capsule wardrobes, I kind of have this already built in as my accountability partner. And I actually live, breathe, wear the outfits that I create. So,
yeah.
So that makes it a lot easier. But I will start off with either, like a pair of pants that's in my closet. For instance, I'll grab my olive colored jeans and then I put them down on my bed or on the floor. And I start grabbing items from my closet and pairing up outfits. So I'll go grab a top, like a white t-shirt. Then I'll grab a pair of shoes, my snake print sneakers. Then I'll grab a topper, either a cardigan or my black moto jacket. And then sometimes if I'm feeling really, really fancy, I'll add in some accessories, like throw a pair of earrings and a necklace down. Bam, there's an outfit. Take a photo with your iPhone, whatever phone you have, and keep those pictures in an album on your phone. So once you have that pairing, take everything out except for the pair of olive jeans and do it all over again. Go pick a printed top that matches them and a different pair of shoes. And keep doing this until you exhaust the original item that you had on the floor. And keep those pictures in your phone. And then next time you don't have anything to wear or you walk into your closet and you feel overwhelmed, pull up one of the outfit pairings and put it on. You can also take outfit selfies. If you have an outfit that makes you feel like $1 million, you put it on, take a selfie in the mirror, keep it in that same folder, refer back to it.
That is a great idea.
I pair up everything that I'm taking in my suitcase in a couple of different ways, depending upon whether we have laundry facilities or not, determines how many outfits I need. But I try to pair everything up in my suitcase in at least 2 different ways and take pictures of the pairings. And then when we get on vacation, I just pull up the phone, the pictures, and bam, my capsule wardrobe's right there. And it makes getting dressed the easiest thing that I do all day.
I love that. I have to tell you, I'm going to try that because I have contemplated many times the Steve Jobs wardrobe of just having 100 black shirts and black jeans because I do get very overwhelmed with what do I put together. But I love that idea. Yeah, that's really, and then sometimes I don't have the confidence, like, does this really go together? And, I guess I just have to take that risk, right? And try.
For sure. And, I used to be the same way. I had all black and gray clothes in my closet. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with monochromatic looks, and they're the easiest to put together. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I had to venture out into color and pattern, and it was a journey for me. And you're a creative like I am. So I just started to view this as another way of expressing my creativity. And, pairing up, mixing patterns is really a big step outside of my comfort zone. But I started doing it a few years ago, like mixing stripes with leopard print or with florals and polka dots and, just different types of pattern mixing. And at first it was so far out of my comfort zone and so uncomfortable. And now it's just second nature and a fun way for me to express my personality. I love expressing my personality through graphic t-shirts. Like my new recent favorite t-shirt has the Beatles on the front. It's just a fun way, another fun way to express your creativity and express your personality through style.
So we're about ready to wrap up. I have a couple more questions, and one I ask almost every guest. So you have creativity within your business, within the way you serve, the way you show up already. Are there other ways that creativity shows up in your life, like for fun or pleasure?
Absolutely. I love reading and I love writing. So those are 2 of my favorite creative outlets. I love performing, and it's something that I would love to get back to someday. Doing live theater was always my favorite. There's just nothing that compares to the energy that you get from a live audience. And I would love to get back into that someday. But I love home decor too. That's my big thing. We just moved, and being able to decorate a new house has been a dream come true for me, and able to express my creativity in that way. I think, even as a kid, when I look back, the things that I loved doing the most were decorating, singing into my hairbrush in the bathroom, pretending like I was doing shampoo commercials, and setting up stores.
Isn't it funny?
10 stores and selling things. Yes.
Yeah, but it's like the as a tiny child, you're showing up in exactly the way you were designed.
Yes, and I spent so many years pushing that down and trying to push the square peg into the round holes, and again, it was worthwhile, and all of those experiences have led me to where I am today. But I can also see that I was denying parts of myself, and just I feel fully alive now, whereas I didn't before when I was pushing all of that down.
I just love that. And you have some exciting things in the future. I mean, I think we talked right before we started recording that you have a new book coming out.
I do, yes. It releases September 7th of 2021. It's going to be the ultimate handbook of outfit formulas, and it features year-round mix and match classic outfit ideas that work for every body shape, every size, every budget.
I love that. And if you already have another book out. I think it was an Amazon bestseller. That's already available, right?
It's called Get Pretty, Kick Butt, and it was a mom's guide to organizing your day. And it's more of a book about keeping hours and all of the tips and tricks and organization tools and ways that I was able to recapture my time whenever I first started off on this journey.
Yeah. I guess, Alison, you've left us with so many things to think about, and obviously people are going to want to learn more, whether it's style inspiration, beauty advice, life skills. Where would be the best place for people to connect with you?
The best place is at getyourprettyon.com. You can find my blog there. There's tons of style inspiration. Also, lots of freebies there if you're looking for some freebie wardrobe guides, a closet staples list, whatever. Wherever you're at on the style journey right now, I've got a ton of resources there that you can grab for free.
Yay. Oh my gosh, it's been a pleasure. I will say one last thing, that because I really love researching my guests, and I already knew a little bit about you, but I'm also a fellow INFJ, if people know the Myers-Briggs.
Yay.
So, yeah.
We're a rare breed, but we get each other so well.
Yeah. So it's been such a pleasure. I have just totally enjoyed watching your business, your journey, and I just encourage people to check out Get Your Pretty On. And thank you, Alison, for joining me today on She Made It.
Thanks, Elle. This has been awesome.
I totally loved Alison's episode just as much as I thought I would. And Elle, it actually reminded me of something that you talk about all the time, and that's the power of acting as if. I think we so often think when we're in a funk or just not feeling ourselves or feeling bored with our life as it is, that something inside us needs to change first. But I think what Alison really brought out is that sometimes we just need to change something that we're doing, something about our environment, even something about what we're wearing, and the acting as if we're happy and doing well can sometimes make us really feel better. So I just love that as such an easy tip when the days start to run together.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I do yin yoga, and I have the tightest right hip in the universe of all human civilization ever born. And when you're doing the pigeon pose, which is specifically designed to stretch that muscle in my hip that doesn't stretch.
Yes.
And the teacher says, smile. And I'm like, ah! But the smile is supposed to relax. And it is that act as if I'm in peaceful bliss, stretching my thigh muscle.
You're like,
my
now
hip.
I will be playing the part of someone who loves doing the pigeon pose.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. One of the subjects that Alice and I touched on was the Enneagram.
Yes.
And for those of you who are following me, I've just posted recently on Instagram that I've really been diving into the Enneagram. It is this super fascinating, ancient personality system that types people into 9 types on this geometric shape and shows how we're all connected, but it helps a person understand their underlying tendencies and motivations. And I find it to be one of the most thorough systems for self-awareness, for personal, professional, and spiritual development. So during this pandemic COVID stay-at-home time, I've taken the opportunity to become certified. So now I'm certified to coach individuals, to coach teams to be more effective as a team. So I have a special giveaway for this episode. If you sign up for a discovery call, and within the discovery call, you'll have the option to note that you're interested in finding out your Enneagram type. And many people have taken a quiz before, the online quizzes, and it's been proven that those are really only about 65% accurate. And many people are often toggling between, well, I'm either a this or a that. So if you want to hone in on that, I'm offering a few free typing sessions to help you figure out which type you are. And for those of you who are listening who are not familiar with the Enneagram, go to lzimmerman.com/Enneagram to learn more about this super fascinating personality system.
Yeah, and I'll just add that if you are interested in a discovery call, you can go to lzimmerman.com and then just scroll down to the box that says free discovery call.
I'm so grateful you joined us for today's episode. I bet you're here because you know there's something more for your life. Whether you're moving into something creative or letting go in order to take that next creative step, I have something for you. My free guide to graceful transitions. You can find it at lzimmerman.com/transitions. And remember, if she made it, you can too.